This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. All right, so we got 50 Cent. And also, if you want to run ads in the channel, it's jordantowermedia@gmail.com. All right, so, and it definitely got good prices right now. All right, so we got 50 Cent. He says, look no further. I guess he's reacting to, like, you know, he's obviously there's a comedy bit. He put his face on, I forget the singer's name. Classic song, though. Anyways, we got Tony Yayo and Jim Jones, and Tony Yayo responded to Jim Jones. Basically, you know, Jim Jones doesn't like Tony Yayo because Tony Yayo keeps it real about how disloyal Jim Jones is, and he talks about little things where Jim Jones thinks he's a bully and everything. So he's like, I don't like Tony Yayo, and I got a G for every bump in his face. He looks dirty. Tony Yayo is making a lot more money than Jim Jones is being loyal to 50 Cent. Now, I have seen Jim Jones recently giving back to the neighborhood with food trucks. He's been giving back to schools. I won't take that away from him. He's trying to do more philanthropy, which I applaud, okay? He reps Harlem. He's not from Harlem, but he's doing it in Harlem, okay? If that makes any sense, okay? He's really from the Bronx. Weak Sav, all right? Right where Hell Rail's from. Antonio Brown has been released from jail after posting bond in an attempt murder case. Antonio Brown just can't stay out of trouble. He's a nut job, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Pause. You know, he's crazy. He seems like a cool guy, but like one of those people that just does whatever and doesn't think of the aftermath or how other people feel. You know, he's crazy. He's crazy. I'm not saying he's a bad person. He's just a little crazy. Method Man. He's always had this dream to be a photographer. He said he's been taking photography classes, and the Jets actually hired him for a day to be on the field. He took some amazing photos, man. Shout out to Method Man. Hazel E has confirmed that she's with Blueface right now. They're dating at the moment. Bro, this girl will do anything for attention. Anything. And so will Blueface. But Blueface is like at least comedy with it. She's just like thirsty, bro. Let's be real. She's the thirstiest. Meg Thee Stallion goes after Milagro in court. Roc Nation versus anybody that spoke against Meg Thee Stallion that was impactful. Milagro was one of them. She's Aiden Ross and academics have been subpoenaed. Well, they had to show up and testify in this case. They were made to. But Milagro Grams admitted she doesn't know anything about ethics of journalism in defamation case with Meg Thee Stallion. Judge says never qualified as a journalist in the first place. Listen, man. I guess she said that once in a live as a joke or something. Who is qualified to be a journalist? Everybody's a journalist. You know, it's just like all she was doing was reporting what was happening. She wasn't giving like an inside lawyer's point of view. She had actual lawyers on to give that point of view. This is such a messy thing that Roc Nation is doing with us. It's really crazy, man. It's not worth speaking about Roc Nation or Jay-Z really in that matter. You can touch on it, but do not. Some people really go after Jay-Z. And certain people have so much power and they're so petty that they'll drown you in court. You know? They'll drown you in court. You know, and Jay-Z uses the system. Jay-Z and his company use the system to their benefit. Sometimes when you have a lot of money and influence, you can influence the system. And that's what's happening here. And I'm just saying this to highlight to people. Pick your battles, man. Pick your battles. I've had discrepancies in the past, and you got to look at somebody. Like I had something with a lawyer 2 years ago. 2 years ago, it was something over clearing something. I'm gonna get into too much detail about it, right? But the lawyer told me in so many words, and he had power because he had big clients, right? He told me in so many words that like, hey, can you do this? But also if I didn't do it, it would become a problem. Part of me was like, you know what? What do you mean it was going to be a problem, And then some people say, yo, I'll stand on anything, I'll die. But, listen, sometimes you got to pick your battle. So I worked out something where I didn't have to deal with this issue ever again. And they were happy, I was happy, and no money had to be exchanged because you know what? Sometimes peace of mind is priceless. I was not wrong. I deserved money in the situation. It was something where I forfeited money in a situation. Probably $5,000 to $10,000, But if I went against it and said, I need to get paid and this and that, and they didn't get what they wanted, they were going to try to make other issues for me. That's what they were implying. And they couldn't really, but if I would have to defend myself, it would cost me more to prove I was right and I don't have extra cash like that. I don't have $10 million sitting around where I could waste $100,000 on legal fees. You don't always get those legal fees back, so you got to pick your battles. Rory's dealing with something today where he just talks too much. I don't dislike Rory Ramal really, but I'll tell you something. Rory tweets too much, and he's tweeted jokingly in the past about black women, and now he's being pressed over it because they're saying he hates black women. And you know what? This just goes from like joking around too much on sensitive topics. You just don't do it, especially if you're white. I'm white. I don't joke around about certain topics because you know what? I can put myself in somebody else's shoes in my mind and be like, you know what? That would offend certain people. Because, you really, if you're joking about something, it's really about one person. But you don't want to offend other people when you're really just criticizing one person. That's my point. If you're criticizing one person and how they act, you don't put a color on it because it's not really a color. It's that person, And he put a color on it, and I don't get that because you really got to separate people for who that individual is and not the color attached to it, because that's stereotypical, So I'm going to call it racist, but it's really just a stereotype, which is a part of racism, and it's just like, dude, why offend people? That's why how I was like, try not to offend people in your opinions. I always try my best to not do that. I always target the individual, because some people are just frauds, right? So, what did I put 50 Cent here for? Oh yeah, he was reacting to something about Diddy, and we talked about that last night. He talked about Diddy not getting pardoned, and then also Diddy got more time because he's doing bad. He's not behaving in jail, right? So he said Diddy got to chill out so he can come home. Want to throw him a party. He deleted that, though. Adam22 talks about Jim Jones. This is typical of Jim Jones. Jim Jones tries to press people. He tries to use intimidation tactics. Like, say you bring up Max B. He's like, yo, I'm going to let you slide on that because you cool, but don't talk about Max B around me. Bro, you did... Okay, I can understand where Jim Jones has his feelings that he feels like he was used by Max B, but he wasn't. He used Max B, and he was mad that Max B went public. That, yes, Jim Jones gave money to Max B for this and this. Max B was owed that money, just so you know. The money for, I think it was part of his bail. It wasn't everything. And I think he gave some money for some other stuff. That was money that Max B was owed for writing for Jim Jones, okay? But Max B wanted to get released from Jim Jones at one point. He says, like, yeah, I got to go do my thing because now I have this pending case. I got to get a deal and get to work. Mind you, he was out for 3 years after this whole thing with Jim Jones, right? And he just decided to go rogue at one point. I think the first time he did it was with me on the Come Up DVD, right? Doggy Diamonds was there too, just so you know. Yeah, he helped me with that first interview. He showed up and we went over and met up with Max B. And I said, yo, let's put our, me and Doggy Diamonds talked about it and we did that together because it was a confusing situation. I think everyone was confused at the time that Max B all of a sudden was going against Jim Jones. And we didn't have all the answers at that point because it was fresh. Nobody did, So he kind of talked about it there. And we made the segment as long as possible. And that's where you get the Max B's probably one of his biggest records ever. Wait, hold on one sec. The name of the song. I know this. I know the. Let's see. Which song was it? What song? What's the name of that song? It's I'm confusing all the Max B songs I did now. But anyways, it's one of his biggest music videos ever, and we also did part 2 to it. I just can't. I'm trying to figure out what the name. Blow Me a Dub. I'm tripping. Blow Me a Dub and Blow Me a Dub remix. I did both of those, and that was like the biggest thing for him at that time, being on his own. Classic to this day. Yeah. So Adam22 says Jim Jones was trying to press him because he was like getting with the Bloods and the Bronx and everything, and he wanted to interview Jim Jones, and Jim Jones tried to send him a message of intimidation, and I was like, that's crazy. This is Aiden Ross getting ready for his Roc Nation thing. Mercedes-Benz McKella, she's in Atlanta. She gets a lot of celebrities Mercedes, like exclusive Mercedes. This is for Playboy Cardi, saying it's the one and only white SL, but Key Glock just got one last week too, so that's not true. Just so you know. But she's very good at getting exclusive Mercedes. Juvenile talks about he wasn't even going to do verses because he knew Wayne wasn't going to show up, but Swiss Beats talked him into doing it. Probably gave him some more money, too. Wayne isn't cool with the whole Cash Money thing. He doesn't want to push Birdman forward or anything, but he's cool with Birdman, but Birdman knows he tarnished that relationship forever at that point. So there's no coming back from not paying what Wayne was owed, and Wayne had to fight for that, and that just wasn't right because Wayne kept Cash Money up. We're gonna get more into detail on that later because it's doomed, bro. Diddy's lose his phone privileges, I guess, because he did a 3-way call. Vine's coming back. Max B's in studio with Harry Fraud. That's legendary. This guy is funny, man. So Jim Jones dropped a new freestyle with director Flash Johnson. It's the first time I'm seeing him, but he does this spin move, and the way he films is hilarious. But he's doing his thing. I like the content, and we'll talk about Little Dirk later. There's more coming out about that. Anyways, this is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button if you want to run ads on the channel. JordanTowermedia@gmail.com. Peace.